Hey, how's it going, guys? I am here today going to give you a deck profile video on the deck that I used for the Los Angeles Regionals this past weekend. I played Kashtira, super powerful deck. I got 5 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. Didn't make that top 64, but made it all the way through, and honestly the deck is super powerful and matches very well against Snake Eyes, which has been very dominant within the format. So let's just get right to it. So starting off with Pressure Planet Race Off, super good card, 3 copies. It's your great 1-card combo starter, and honestly without it I don't think I would have gone too far, but also it's a really good card to bait out Ash. Yeah. Next we've got Kashtira Birth. Play 3 copies of Kashtira Birth. I mean, you need this in the deck, no questions. It helps you get a summon, so. Also played 3 copies of Kashtira Theosis. Super good when you're going first and you want to start off with Unicorn. You don't want to activate Unicorn's effect yet. You just use Theosis as a follow-up, and then if they don't Ash or anything like that, then you can go ahead into Unicorn afterwards, but it's a great card to have. Play 3. Next is Kashtira Rise Heart. You must play 3. Anything other than 3 I think is not good, so 3 is really good. After, you've got Unicorn. I play 3 copies of Kashtira Unicorn. This guy is honestly the best in the deck. This is what I usually lead first if I don't see him in the hand. After that, Kashtira Fenrir. Fenrir, obviously, very, very good card. It's a great interruption, or disruption, whatever you want to call it. Banishes face down, same thing as Unicorn as well, but from the extra deck, this will be banishing from the field. Super important right now with Snake Eyes going around, going rampant. You want those cards to be unplayable as much as possible. So in combination with Unicorn activates effect, you can easily banish the Promethean Princess face down. Don't even worry about it. After that, I played 2 copies of Ogre because I'm playing Kashtira Preparations within this deck, and I think Kashtira Ogre is really good for when you want to get something out of their deck or see or have card knowledge. So you excavate 5, you always choose 5, and you get to see their next cards for the next draws if they don't shuffle yet, right? And then you get to banish 1 face down, so super, super powerful. And then of course you get that effect where you get Kashtira Preparations, which will help you later on. I played 1 copy of Kashtira Fenrir, or sorry, not Fenrir, Scarecall Kashtira, just because it's great as that defense monster and negates every monster effect your opponent has during the battle phase until the end of the turn, and it can attack in defense position, so it's just a really good card to have. That's for that. Then for the hand traps, I played 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Not much more to say there, it's Ash Blossom. And then I played 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Yes, in the main, I think that this card is honestly really bonkers and fucking broken right now. If you can stop your opponent from drawing more cards, especially in this format, you have a good advantage. Next up is my favorite, Dimension Shifter. If you see this in your hand, I only play 2. If you see this in your hand, off the rip, draw phase, activate it because you have no grave, let that go through. And since you're playing Kashtira anyway, the graveyard doesn't really matter. I'm also playing 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. I teeter-tottered between 2 and 3, but I think 3 for more consistency is actually best. I'm also playing Evenly Matched. I played 2 copies of Evenly Matched in the main. I think going second, this is pretty broken. Let your players do off so many combos, and then after that, battle phase, main phase 2, or end of battle, I should say. So yeah, really good card. I played 1 copy of Macrocosmos. Just banish everything, get it out of the field. We don't need it. They can't get their shit back. One copy of Kashtira Preparations, really good card to have on field. Say that they want to activate a trap, but this is already face up on the field, then you get to rip a card from your hand and banish it face down. Aside from that, you can special summon Kashtira monster from your hand or the banishment, so really good card. I'm playing 2 copies of Dimensional Fissure here in this deck. Again, the whole deck is going to be revolving on banishing. We don't want Snake Eyes to come back to life, or any other deck that uses the graveyard for that matter. We play 1 copy of Lightning Storm, and then we play 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. You can do 2 Lightning Storm, I just happen to have these 2, and I think that actually works really well in my favor. We're going to go over now the extra deck. So my choices were Divine Arsenal Zeus, Superstar Slayer Typhon, obviously the Sky Crisis. These 2 cards are good to have. They didn't really pop up a whole lot. I think I used Sky Crisis like once out of 9 rounds, so it's okay. Kashtira Shangri-La, we played 2 copies of this card. Absolutely a must. Maybe you could play 3, but I decided to play 2 instead, and I think that works best. Also played the Red Eyes Flare Metal. This actually came up way more often than I thought, and I think this is a really, really good card after you set up your entire board. You know, main phase 1, and then you go into battle, then after battle, just main phase 2 this out, and watch those life points go down. It is very satisfying, and sometimes people don't expect it. So, and it can't be destroyed by card effects. So, by your opponent's activated. Well, let me read that actually. Can I be destroyed by card effects? Yeah, while it has material. So, really good card. And plus, you get that burn of 500. Too good. 1 Draco Sack. I didn't really use this card at all. It was just more there for just in case, so I can get those 2 tokens and link climb, really. Number 11, Big Eye. I probably used Big Eye maybe once or twice. Not like super vital to the deck, but very nice when you need to have a removal at some point. For my links, or moving on to links, I played 1 IP Masquerina, which honestly I didn't really use. 1 SP Little Knight, I didn't really use either. There was no need. Scareclaw Tryheart actually came up once. It's a great card to stall out. You can easily put 3 different monsters on the field with Scareclaw, and then put this guy on your link zone, and then everything turns into defense position, both yours and your opponent's. And then after that, Scareclaw Tryheart is unaffected by defense position's activated effects. So it is really, really good if you need to stall out for a little bit before you figure things out. After, we got Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. Again, this requires 3 monsters with different names. Super good to get you out of sticky situations. Appaloosa, we all know Appaloosa, get your negates. Axis Code Talker, get your disruptions, get your destructions. Attack with big numbies. Avermax, Mech Knight Crusader Avermax. I think Avermax is really, really good. However, did it show up within the regional? No, not really. I didn't get a really chance to play it just because the Kashtira engine was just way too good. It just didn't really have a chance to shine. But if we needed it, we would have summoned it. And then finally, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Super good card. Again, I didn't really see it at all. I relied heavily on my Exceed monsters for this regional, and I think it did pretty well because, again, we need those banishments, especially if we're playing, let's see here, Kashtira Shangri-La. You want those effects to go off once it banishes something. And then if you got Birth on the field, and of course Pressure Planet Race Off, it makes all the difference. Now moving on to the side deck. These were my choices. I had 1 more Scareclaw Kashtira in here, just in case I needed an extra little consistency. I can side it out. We played the other Kashtira Ogre, in case I needed, again, more consistency. I would place that in, so we would play 3 Ogres. Tier Element Kashtira, it's okay. I didn't really want to use Tier Element Kashtira a whole lot, but in case that you need to have an extra summon, or you feel like you have a need to get rid of more cards from their deck, this is one way to do it, especially if they're not playing a graveyard heavy deck. But if they are, then this might not be a good choice. We played 2 copies of Nibiru. I honestly only sided Nibiru once, just because when dueling against Snake Eyes, using a Nibiru isn't really always that optimal, especially if you misuse Nibiru, or use it prematurely, I should say. So I think that Nibiru at a 2 at a side in those situations where you absolutely need it is fine, just because this deck revolves around banishing, so you were going to banish everything anyway. I played 3 Ghost Spells. I think Ghost Spell is actually really, really strong in the format, where a lot of decks trying to bring things back from the graveyard or send things to the graveyard and such like that. So you would replace this with the Ash Blossoms, in my opinion. I think works best. And I did actually side that out quite a few times. I actually played 3 copies of Spellbound. This did come up a few times where I've used it and I've totally just messed over my opponent. Spellbound will not allow your opponent to XE, Synchro, Link, or Fusion, or even Tribute, for that matter, for the monsters on the field, their opponents, your opponents actually. So pretty good card. I would side it in a few times. It works best against like Tenpai or like a Centurion kind of thing, where they're just heavy on extra deck. It works pretty good against Snake Eyes as well. You just have to have that timing right to play that card. And then here's that other copy of Macrocosmos. Yes, I did play 2. During my final match, I actually played 2 copies of Macrocosmos because I wanted to double down on the banishment. It worked. And then finally, or not finally, these 2 cards, Skill Drain. You know, I wouldn't put it in the main. It's more like a side deck kind of option where you're kind of like a last resort. I would probably use Skill Drain and during Tenpai stuff, activate Skill Drain and watch Tenpai crumble. No effects for you. And then finally, the third, Evenly Matched. Again, Evenly Matched is a great card to use going second. Break those boards, send them to the Shadow Realm, do all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's my deck video. And hopefully I'll get to make another one and show you some combos. Thank you.